Hello everyone, Francis Walsh here again with thedigitalmerchant.com, and today we're going to be looking at the best tools for async team communication. Now, async communication is something that's come into vogue very much in the post-COVID era, so over the last 5 years or so, I suppose. And it's quite a broad church. So, essentially this refers to anything that's not communication in real time, as in a in-person meeting or on a call or over a Zoom call. Something that you can send and someone else can add to or respond to in their own time. And obviously this covers quite a range of things. So everything from text-based to communication, to document production, to project management tools, to video documentation tools. So we're going to cover kind of something from all of these categories. Just for a bit of context, I suppose, I myself am a freelance writer and content creator, and these are things I use myself in my workflows, in dealing with clients, in dealing with collaborators, all of that kind of thing. So I'm speaking from personal experience here, and obviously if there's anything you feel I've missed out or anything you'd like to add that you feel works really well in your own workflows, please feel free to drop it in the comments. So the first tool we're going to look at here is called Guidde, and you can see Guidde's homepage here. Guidde, I have to say, really is on a different level to anything else we are going to be looking at today. Essentially, what it allows you to do is to use AI to generate videos from scratch using a recording of your own screen. So the videos typically focus on your internal workflows. So you basically document your workflows in these videos, and you can then share them with your team, so that it's basically saving you time documenting these SOPs, via a video you make yourself or via a Google Doc. It's much less labor intensive. You essentially just record yourself doing it, and this app will make the video for you. It's not just a recording either. You can add in annotations, you can make edits. It's very user friendly, and it really does a good job of leveraging that AI technology to make these assets and to help you inform your team. So as you can see here, there's a range of extra features beyond just the recording. They're adding to these all the time. The company is really on the ball when it comes to adding extra features and to treating its premium subscribers well. There's extra design features, there's sharing compatibility, and yeah, if you want to, I'm not going to do a demo here now at the moment just because of time limits with the video, but if you want to visit the website, there's a lot of resources that will show you just how easy it is to make these guides. So yeah, I've used this quite a bit, and I'm using it more and more as time goes by. Obviously it's quite a new technology and it's all emerging, but when I'm collaborating with other freelancers, or when I'm trying to explain processes to my clients, all that kind of thing, it's really, really useful. And I do like in particular the way it is, set up specifically for documenting processes. There are other AI video generators out there that are more for social media content or that kind of thing, but the specialization that you get here really allows for really high quality content, ease of use, all of that. I can really highly recommend this, and I would encourage anyone to give it a try. There is a free version. I think to access most of the features over the long term, you're going to need to pay for it, but it is, so far for me, it is a really worthwhile investment. Next thing we're going to look at is Loom. Loom is something I'd imagine a lot of you are already familiar with. I'm actually recording this video on Loom, as you can probably tell by the characteristic little face bubble here in the bottom corner. Yeah, essentially Loom is the beauty of Loom is in its simplicity. It's just so easy to use. Basically, you record your screen, click play, say what you want to say and show what you want to show, and it will just record it all for you, and you just get a little link. Send the link to whoever you need to see it, or else download the video and share it in your Google Drive or whatever it is. It is just ease of use epitomized. It is just so straightforward, so user friendly, and it's just so handy because I suppose the key point of this video is asynchronous communication, and saving people the time associated with meetings and with having to be in the same place at the same time or whatever else. Loom basically just allows you to kind of do that kind of meeting thing without having everyone on the same call or in the same room. And then of course there is the recording then afterwards, which can be referred back to later. So for that kind of thing where it's the sort of content that you might disseminate in a meeting, but that it's not really a collaborative thing where it's just mainly one person going to be doing the talking. Loom is just A1 for that, and I really highly recommend it for that purpose. Next, we're going to look at Slack. So Slack, Slack's been around a while. It's not exactly the most cutting edge thing here. It's essentially just your typical messaging platform. To be honest, I wouldn't necessarily say you need to use Slack as opposed to, I don't know, WhatsApp or Telegram or any of them. I just think for, working teams, I just think Slack's features are the best, make it the best option out of any of these. I just think I love the threads feature, the way you can, branch off into little threads within groups and discuss specific things. I like the way even the groups are segmented so that within teams you can have, particular chats about this workflow or this kind of subgroup or everything like that. I find it's organized really intuitively, and it's really user friendly in that way. And I also think they're kind of on the ball when it comes to AI plugins. So you can kind of see this covered in a little more detail down here on their features page. I know AI is really all the buzz at the moment, and I feel like a lot of it is just marketing. Platforms are kind of using AI to sell things that are kind of more basic really than they're making out. But the AI plugins in Slack do a great job. They cut out a lot of the faff, I suppose, that's involved in a lot of processes. So one example that I would use is in that one team for which I produce content, there's a submit for editing workflow, and all you have to do is just hit /submit, and it will immediately make a little pop-up box where you can submit your Google Doc by just putting in a link, putting in a reference number, and then that's the submission done. So it just takes the pain out of having to message your editor to say, oh, X, Y, and Z is done, it's at this link. It just makes it that little bit easier, and I just think for a messaging platform, it offers a lot of these kinds of plugins that make life that little bit easier. It's also a subsidiary of Salesforce, which means it's plugged into the broader suite of Salesforce products, which is handy because obviously a lot of teams are using those, and it plugs in pretty handily to the likes of Google Drive and Asana and all that kind of thing as well. So yeah, if you're looking for a messaging platform, I would recommend Slack. Next, what we're going to look at is Notion, and then Notion is kind of, I suppose, your project management platform. I've also used Trello quite extensively for this, and they're similar in a lot of ways. I like Trello. I manage my own kind of personal workflows on Trello, so all my clients, I'll have them detailed there. But for more complex stuff, if you're running a team, I find Notion just it has that bit more bandwidth. It's a bit more powerful. There's more to it. There's more kind of options and workflows and that kind of thing. The Kanban board is really intuitive. It's kind of similar to Trello in that you have kind of cards with the content in them, and it's just organized really intuitively. And you can put everything together in a way that kind of makes sense visually, which is great, particularly for workflows like mine. As I said, I work in content, so it's handy to have that kind of title content structure to it. So yeah, if you're in a kind of an industry like mine, I'm a really big fan of Notion. I think it does a lot of things really well. Like Slack, I like the AI plugins too. I think they're cutting a lot of the pain out of manual workflows using AI plugins, which is always good. And then last and certainly not least, probably the longest standing of all of these, Google Workspace. I have Docs here basically to illustrate this, but I use Google for a lot of stuff. I use Docs for content production. I use Sheets for anything that requires the kind of spreadsheet, certain project management functions, anything mathematical, all that kind of thing. Gmail is my mail app, and I use Google Keep as kind of a little note-taking app as well, alongside kind of a more basic version of Trello, if you like. And I kind of have this up here just to illustrate the partnerships that Google Workspace kind of plugs into. Look, it's really handy. It's really intuitive. I feel like for me, it has completely taken over from Microsoft Office. I just feel like it is way, way more intuitive, much more user-friendly, much more geared towards collaboration within teams. And, for the likes of text-based SOPs where you're putting something together to illustrate a workflow, I find there's probably no reason to look outside Google Docs a lot of the time, unless of course you're using something like Guidde where you need that visual element to it, and you have that option. But I still use Google Docs. I've used it throughout my whole freelance career, and I would strongly recommend it to anyone. I'm not a fan of Microsoft Word personally. I find it really annoying. It just doesn't do the job for me, and I just find Google Docs, Google Sheets, etc. really good. So that's basically all for me on this one. I know this is something that people have opinions on, but the apps that you use for communication, and I know some apps people love and some apps drive people insane. So yeah, I'd be curious to hear about all of your thoughts on that in the comment section. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much everything for me on this video, and I'll see you in the next one.